Long ago, in a land far away, there were 4 little characters that lived in a maze.
2 were mice named Sniff and Scurry.
And 2 were little people, the size of mice. Their names were Hem and Ha.
As different as the mice and little people were, they shared one thing in common. Each morning, they put on their running shoes and raced into the maze to look for their favorite cheese. Cheese being whatever was most important to them, what nourished them and made them happy.
For Sniff and Scurry, cheese was just cheese. But for Hem and Ha, cheese was more than just having something to eat. Finding it was a way of getting what they thought they needed. To them, cheese represented having security, or good health, or material things, or whatever they believed would make them happy.
For Ha, cheese meant living in a beautiful cottage with a loving family on Cheddar Lane.
To Hem, cheese meant being a big cheese, owning a mansion atop Camembert Hill. Sniff and Scurry had good instincts. Sniff would smell out the general direction of the cheese, and Scurry would race ahead.
But Hem and Ha had complex brains with beliefs and emotions that made finding their way in the maze more complicated and challenging. Rather than trusting their instincts, they relied on guidebooks and maps to help find their way in the maze.
In their own way, all 4 characters discovered what they were looking for. Eventually, each one arrived at Cheese Station C and discovered their own special cheese.
Let's say, for example, C. C stands for comfort. How many of us doesn't like comfort in our life? Everybody likes comfort. I mean, our ultimate goal is to be comfortable in life. That's what we call happiness. To have luxury or material well-being and everything. But the problem is when we get addicted to this comfort, then it becomes problem. So C stands for comfort. So in this story, there was a huge amount of cheese were present. Now 4 people came there, 2 little people and 2 mice. And 2 people think that okay, we have got the enough amount of cheese to live a whole life here, and we are going to be settled here only. We are not. We will shift our house from far away to this place, and we are going to stay here, and we are going to enjoy our whole life. That's called the security. Now the problem is the amount of cheese is consumable. It means it is going to be reduced day by day. The more you will, it's a limited resource. But those 2 people who think that this is unlimited and we are going to have cheese for lifetime, they didn't realize it. And that's why when the cheese become empty, I mean the cheese completely vanished, then they started cursing the life. So from comfort comes cursing. You start, I mean, just like that, we also start cursing life. Why this happened with me? You start feeling a victim of life. Nobody warned us before that this is the nature of cheese, or it will be out one day. So from comfort comes cursing. So what is the takeaway lesson? Is nothing is permanent in life. Everything is continuously changing. This is the theme of our meeting. Change is the only constant. Our age, our energy, our materialistic things, everything is continuously changing. And what biggest error we humans do is we think that this is going to stay forever, and that's why we create. It's not a nature's law, life's law or nature's law, but we create expectation in our mind, and then we think everything will remain same throughout our life, and then whenever change comes, we become unhappy. So the first step is accept that there is a change coming up. Be alert. First thing. Second thing, H stands for hunting. Now we all are, I mean our ancestors were hunters, agree? All the ancestors, I am talking about thousands of years of old people, they all were hunters. We all were in the jungles where we have to hunt every day. So our body and our brain is adapted to that kind of physiology. We need to, every day we need stimulus to go to work, we need to hunt, we need to get the food, and we need to take the food, and again next day we need to repeat the cycle. But the problem is with evolution or with the time, we have built a society around us. We need build a system around us which made us less stimulant to the external external needs, and that make us what? That make us less respondent to the stimuli. So we need to remember that we are hunters. Our physiology comes from hunting background. Every day we need to tell ourselves whether we have enough source of cheese in our home. We still go to work. We still need to find some new stimulus so that we can achieve some new goals, and that is the thing which will keep us alive. Got the point? So we never forget that, okay, I am working for my retirement, and after my retirement everything will be fine. I don't need to go to work. But then again you need to do some activity, isn't it? For the to keep your body alive, to keep your body working, healthy. So as more early you realize this thing, the better you will live your life, and you will have a lesser expectation of the life and more reality check from the life. The second H stands for hunting. Now I want to know from other people who have read this book, your takeaways from the book. Takeaways. So any ideas which you like about the book?
So I feel this is a classic book about how and why change is important, and should always be ready for change. Now, leaving the book aside, let me give you another example which I heard from none other than Harsha Bhogle. So everyone's heard about Harsha Bhogle, cricket commentator Harsha Bhogle. So what's so special about Harsha Bhogle? If you look at it, he has only played first class cricket. He has not played for the Indian cricket team. He's an IIM Ahmedabad graduate. So if you look at it, he has left cricket and he's gone into starting the normal life like academics. But he was passionate about cricket, so he went into cricket commentary. Now Harsha Bhogle always had this trouble that he was always looking at who are my competitors. So who are Harsha Bhogle's competitors? It is a Sunil Gavaskar, it is a Navjot Singh Sidhu. And he's constantly worried, and he said this, that I was thinking who's going to be my next competitor. And I said, he said, okay, Gavaskar is competing, Sidhu is competing, so I have to work on my cricket knowledge. And he would always try to really work hard and ensure that, he is above them, he's reading a lot about cricket. And then one fine day, what happens is IPL comes. And it is a Mandira Bedi who takes away Harsha Bhogle's job. And he said, I never in my life imagined that Mandira Bedi would actually be my competitor. And this is a classic example of change management. When you're thinking of one, okay, this is going to be my competition, and competition is actually coming from somewhere else. And that's a live example. And we see so many examples. There's a very interesting case study on the internet which says have a breakfast or be a breakfast, and which is about who eats whom. And so who's a competitor for, they said this thing. So for a Sony camera, who's a competitor? So Nokia and the Samsung became competitor because people then stopped buying cameras because camera came in a cell phone. And we don't buy alarm clocks anymore because it all comes in a cell phone. So that's all about change management. You have to always constantly think who's going to be my competition, and that's what the book is about. Where the two small men, hem and haw, became comfortable and said, okay, fine, we are getting our cheese, we are quite settled. And the mice actually said they didn't do that. Every morning they got up and they went to the same cheese station, but they were ready. And one fine day when they found that the cheese is not there, they put on their shoes and they went around the maze to look for different cheese. But the men, since they were comfortable, they just actually started cursing, as you were saying. So that's my thing.
So great example of Harsha Bhogle. So CHA, A stands for adapt. When you think that A is your competition, and sometimes B also becomes your competition, then you have to adapt yourself to develop skills which can match with B, and you have to be ready for that kind of thing every day of your life. And you cannot start complaining, how can I become like Mandira Bedi, or how can I add glamour to myself. You need to work on your own strength or whatever, and you need to accept it. And earlier you accept it, the change, or earlier you accept that you need to work on the adaptation, better it will be. Because in the same book also, Ham and Ho, when they realize that they have made this mistake, that they were not alert enough to see the cheese, but now they have learned a lesson that next time whenever change will happen, we will adapt it too quickly. So this is the lesson, and this is the era when we are living, where changes is the, I think the most rapid rate change is happening in the whole history of humanity because of the social media or internet or because of the possibility of connection, where change brings two things, threats as well as opportunity.
Can I give an example again? This comes to my mind. This happened. This is a live thing. If you go to YouTube, you search, you will see this. So this is about Nokia. And Nokia was at one point of time when cell phones came in, Nokia was a market leader, and they were doing great in the Indian market. And at that same time, the cell phone revolution was taking. So Nokia was a simple, small 1100 phone, very much popular, doing quite well. And then the revolution came about the touch technology. And the Nokia team said, no matter what, Indian customer is quite price sensitive. So we will not get into that. Let's focus on our phone, what we do. And we saw that didn't happen. So Indian customer moved from the phone of Nokia, small, cheaper phone, to touch. And Nokia lost out on that. And there's a video on YouTube where there's a press conference where the Nokia CEO is actually crying in the press conference saying, we didn't do anything wrong. Yeah, you didn't do anything wrong, but you forgot that you had to change and you didn't change. So you didn't do something right also. And that's why I think it is important. You may not have done something wrong, but you forgot to do what is right.
So just today I read somewhere that Nokia has again come up with another model, and within 50 seconds they have sold 15 lakh plus. Probably that might give an example of it's never too late.
It's related with change, and N stands for no. Now we all are living in the society where to say no to someone is, I think, the most difficult part. Agree? Yes. We have to accept it. It's really difficult because always the relationship or many other conflicts will come up, and then we end up being either bankrupt or any other things, or end up being a failure, and then we start blaming. So before start blaming anyone else, I think we should take the responsibility of pain of saying no to someone. Why? Because change is happening. Let's say, for example, at student age, if you want to study for 10 to 12 hours per day, but your friends want let's go to coffee, or let's go to movie. But you don't want to lose your friend, as well as you don't want to go to the movie. But now you need to choose that, my future is dependent on my this current decision. So then you need to say no. And your result, I mean, your reward of your result will come in future, not immediately. The problem is that after 6 months or year or 2 years so. And so many times we need to choose our friends carefully, those who are with a progressive mindset. I mean, your company, top 5 people around you will determine your position. Or, so you need to be with the people who can be supportive, progressive, and who are open to change. Only you will not make more difference if you have those kind of people around your vicinity. So N stands for no. We need to practice, or we need to start saying no to people without having fear of what will happen to our relationship or other. Because I think there are billions of people in the world, and we have limited, I think 70 to 80 years of life. We are not going to meet all of them. Then why to worry about only people and not to focus about what really want in our life? So these are the things. I mean, to combat the change, we need to start saying no to people. Gone. Now G stands for interesting. G stands for give and share. Now at one side we are talking about saying no to people, and other side we are telling about give and share. Why give and share? Because reciprocity is the natural reflex of human mind. If I'll do something for you, Manish, you will be bound to do something for me in the near or sooner future. This is how our brain works. When I'll give you something for nothing, you will definitely feel, oh, I need to do something for him. So not to abuse the reciprocity reflex, but when you are happy, try sharing your happiness in the materialistic form or even in the emotional form. Why? Because you never know, someday that person will become rich or at a powerful position, and that person can liberate you from your poor situation. So this is the way one should travel in the world. Whenever you are happy or whenever you have something more than you want, try to give and share, because whenever the change will happen, that person in one or another form will definitely help you, because that person will remember that in my difficult time, that person helped me a lot. This will not go out of fashion any day. I think in the near future at least, till we are alive on this earth. Scientists have proven, actually, I was reading this book, Happiness Hypothesis. They have proved that because of our ancestors, when any hunters kill a big game, then they used to distribute the meal to the community tribe. Why? Because if they will not give them this meal to them, it will got rotten. But when they will give it, there will be a bonding between the community. They will feel that, okay, we are the one community. They will help each other when the natural disaster will come. So this thing, to help others, to give others, it's really helpful, and it's really proven thing. So from this day onwards, start helping, and apart from your friends also, give other people help as and when required, or you're supporting, not at the cost of your own goals, but as and when you are free, or as and when you are think that you have a spare time. So last E of change. E stands for I think for me, it's most essential thing which we all humans can do. E for effort. Whenever change happens, what it demands from you is an effort, which obviously in normal days also it demands efforts from you, but when change happens, it requires more effort from your side, so that you can adapt to the change easier, and you can bring all the happiness in your life.